So, I've been reading this book series about a young man in England who discovers he has magical powers and goes to a magical school with kids like himself. While he's there, he figures out this cool mystery thing that is happening that he's also connected to by way of the magic in this world. It even has an asshole rich kid that he has to win against in a few of the books. Have you guys ever read Charlie Bone or Children of the Red Knight as it's known in England? Oh. You thought I was talking about the other book that is in no way, shape, or form original. Yeah, no, I never read those books. Honestly, I don't know how or why they were so popular here in America. I did not want to read about a guy going to school while I was in school, and after I had finished going to school, I didn't want to pick them up anyway. No amount of magic would ever fix or change my mind about the fact that I don't want to go to school or read about a kid going to school. And I know many people cling to the series because it saw them through some rough childhood moments, and others because they just like the series. Sorry, even talking about the series makes me terribly tired. Which is fair, right, for both sides of the aisle, but with everything that the author herself has said and done, well, I mean, being a twat waffle has never killed anyone before, so there's that. I want to discuss this because the idea of a wizarding or magical school and the hero being the oddball out but somehow also the chosen one isn't new. The opening of this video is proof of that. Books that came out way before Harry Potter had this premise, and books way after it also have this premise. However, the main difference is that Harry Potter became a cultural cement block in the minds of people aged 45 and down. The story itself isn't even groundbreaking or worth honestly talking about. For example, if we divorce the story from the name Harry Potter, the story is pretty standard, if not a little boring. We, as readers, have seen this plot before. Follow our protagonist as he and his friends try to stop the evil dark wizard from subjugating the world with his, and let's be very on the nose here, fascist Nazi way of ruling the world, because everybody bases them off that because the Nazis are the pinnacle of evil people. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. You've probably read these books too. I can list some of them right now that have this premise and do it 1,000 times better. The Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. Amazing book. The Magicians. The School for Good and Evil. The Magicians Guild. A Deadly Execution. The Name of the Wind. Ninth House. Carry On. Vampire Academy. Magic for Liars. Super Mutant Magic Academy. They made the School of Good and Evil into a movie on Netflix. The Magicians was a sci-fi original series. Earthsea has never been done well, no matter how good the books themselves are, and I will die mad on that hill. Vampire Academy was also taken to the silver screen at one point. I never watched it, but I heard about it. We as a society have always had magic wizard school books. It's always been that way. Magic school books have fascinated us. It's just that the Harry Potter franchise got a good grip on us because so many people believe that the books were somehow evil. No, that was something so many people thought for a really long time here in America. Does anybody remember or know how or why this woman even got the gazillion dollars she did for this boring as paint book series? No? Well, if you do, then let me talk about it anyway. A long, long time ago, a lot of Christians and other religious groups saw that the magic and Jesus Christ. Like I said, this is boring to talk about. I really am not a fan of Harry Potter. Where was I in my thought process? Right. Other religious groups saw that the magic and witchcraft within the book would somehow corrupt the youth and make them evil devil worshippers somehow. Yeah, it's as stupid as it sounds. On top of the fact that it was just a widespread book people wanted to read because it was considered controversial. And helped it out a lot. The movies also had top tier casting, and that helped drive the nail home on the franchise, cemented in thousands of people's minds because of, honestly, all of the great actors. We're just gonna go through the list, right, from what I remember. There's Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, she's been in a bunch of movies, Rupert Grint, also in a lot of movies, Matthew Lewis, Tom Felton, Alan Rickman, he played in so many movies, the amazing Maggie Smith, God above bless everybody, Ralph Fiennes played Voldemort. I feel like a lot of people don't remember that. Helen Bonham Carter. She's been in fucking everything. Gary Oldman was also in here. The man who never looks the same from one movie to the next. Robert Pattinson, I feel like people forget, was also in these movies. Trust me, sometimes I forget he's in there too because I only ever remember him from Twilight, so that's a me problem and I can admit admit that. Emma Thompson also played in these movies. That's what I mean, right? The casting in the movies was so amazing that it's really hard not to make the movies cemented in thousands of people's minds. But the books, and by extension the movies, don't really do anything except talk about how amazing Harry Potter is and how wrong everyone else is. And, like, it's kind of, like I said, boring and dull to talk about. So if they take a social issue in Harry Potter, any social issue, and they talk about it anyway, they somehow always land on the wrong side of the issue, which is something all of these other wizard books also do, of talking about social issues, but they tend to land on the correct interpretation of the social issue. They talk about social problems by painting them in the magical world way, so that way they could be talked about without the defenders of those issues catching wise until everyone else had already reached the correct conclusion. They paint them that way on purpose. The point of books is to talk about social issues while they are busy being painted and dolled up like they're about to perform on RuPaul's Drag Race. It must be presented as something the wider audience can sit and take in without a fuss. Bubblegum flavor medicine versus the toxic level cherry that every adult shudders to take. Every time Suzanne Collins drops a new book, it will be about a social issue she wants to discuss, and it's always dressed up in the Hunger Games. I did a whole video on how the Capitol plays at false empathy. Every book after the Hunger Games tackles a new social issue while cosplaying as Katniss Everdeen. Not all books tackle social issues, and despite what JK Rowling would have you believe, her books don't so much tackle social issues as crawl into bed with them and try not to let anyone see the walk of shame from which side of the issue that they landed on. She's been very vocal about the fact that she hates trans people, specifically trans women, but there are other groups she's taken a potshot at from within her world. She wrote about disabled and chronic illness as crazy or an allegory for AIDS. It doesn't help the fact that she also holds these honest-to-goodness gross viewpoints and opinions about these kinds of people in the real world too. And I'm not saying that you can't have a disabled or chronically ill character in your books, that's fine. But when you make them whatever the hell Mad-Eye Moody was, or, Bellatrix Lestrange, then you have a problem. Plus, we have, a totally different issue when we talk about Werewolf McWerewolf Werewolfson. I honestly don't know these books. I get a lot of these characters confused, and I really don't care about them, and I can admit my bias. But Remus Lupin is the allegory for AIDS, and because there are so many characters like this in her books, these characters are often spoken about with derision, and they're dismissed unless they can be helpful specifically to Harry Potter. That's a big takeaway from this, right? They have to be helpful to Harry for them to not be dismissed. I won't even bring up the elf-slave thing, because everyone knows that the elf-slave thing is bad and wrong, and how fucked up all of that was. It was also the fact that Rowling seemed to erase any mention of people of color from her work. Everyone is white in all of her worlds, insofar as this genre is concerned, because I've never read anything else she's written, because I just don't like her writing, so I don't read it. So, you know what I mean? Take that with a grain of salt. I feel like I'm right, though. You can write trash television in book format. There's a whole section of bookstores and libraries that cater to what boils down to porn and trash television for reading purposes. We call those bodice rippers. The written format of trash TV is what I'm trying to get to. It's where you can just shut off your brain and vibe with whatever is on the page. However, these magic school books don't tend to lean on that because they talk about things, or at least they should. Earthsea, which again, I will die mad about, has never been done right despite it all being right there, and it tackles a lot of social issues: sex and gender roles, power and authority, racial bias, racial representation. It even talks about social class. Again, nobody ever does Earthsea right, and it makes me mad, but that's a whole different video. The point is, the magic school books are more of a vector to bring up social issues and discuss them than it is to run around and do nothing but worry about which girl likes you and whatever the fuck Harry Potter was even about. I admit my bias, right? Like I've said a couple times now. I admit my bias about the fact that I know very, very little about the books outside of what I've gained from social osmosis. And the test my friend made me take twice as middle schoolers doesn't count. If anyone cares, I got the snake when I took it out of spite, and when I did it again and actually cared, I got the yellow ones that like to eat and don't do anything. So take that for how you're going to take it. Anyway, this video is less about JK Rowling, and it's more about books. I'm just picking on JK Rowling because I just want to talk about magical books versus trash TV. That's it. Anyway, if you think I won't touch the book talk drama, then you are mistaken. I mentioned it in my Nolita video, but here we go. The book talk romance has made it so that a lot of guys, specifically cis men, are getting defensive about women reading the modern version of trash TV that's been around for a long time. But TikTok has made it so that many trashy romance novels are now being placed in front of people and brought from the side aisles of bookstores to the front of them. And people are finding it distasteful. Prudes. The thought-provoking books are now sharing space, as they always have, with the trash TV books. And this is now causing people to crash out hard because they're having to fight with the idea that the girly porn books are now with their deep intellectual murder mystery books, and they think books must present themselves to the readers a specific way, and the books do present themselves to the readers a specific way. If you show up for the dragon porn book and you buy it, it's not false advertising. The book came to you exactly how it was and you got it. And if that's not your jam, why are you here? Anyway, if you think this is a weird, you and I are meeting like at the same Waffle House kind of vibe, we are, insofar as this instance. Books are books. But if you want a deep political murder mystery book, you have to go to the murder mystery section and not get mad when you pass the book talk romantasy section. I'm sorry, book share spaces. You're gonna be okay. We're also sitting in the same section of this Waffle House if you don't care that the book talk girlies are getting their freaky on with whatever light novel they happen to pick up based on their algorithms. Like, I'm not mad at them. Good for them. God bless. In a world where people read and comprehend books, the trash TV novels and the thought-provoking magic school books are seen as allies, not this weird divide between the smarty pants and the degenerates. The divide is what is weird, not the books. Just, putting that out there. Overall, the book talk drama is just a small piece of the main problem. Understanding when something is meant for entertainment and when something is meant to teach you something. Harry Potter is entertaining to a particular group of people and has held that value since its first release. I don't get it, but I can say that. If it doesn't reach you for its entertainment value, that's fine, right? Do what you're going to do. But also, if it doesn't teach you anything except how to be shocked at what is being presented on the page, then it's not really a magic school book. Even when the books try to tell a different story of the Wizarding World, none of them are good. Let's look at the Fantastic Beasts movies, because I had to suffer through them with all of my nieces and nephews, and now I'm going to make you suffer with it, because I had to suffer with it. Mutual company loves misery, yeah? We come to find out that dear old Dumbledore the Explorer was in love with totes not a Nazi Grindelwaldo. I don't care that these are not their names. I don't respect this book series. So, there we go. He was so in love with him, by the way. Dumbledore, so in love with Grindelwald. Is that right? Did I write this right? I don't care if I wrote this right in my script. He was so in love with him that he never fell in love again after it was all said and done. Meaning he killed when Dumbledore found out that Grindelwald was dead. Oh no. Let's unpack that, shall we? The elf slave thing is about a whole thing that's a whole lot better by the end of this kind of a vibe, and it never gets better because it's trashy from the word go. But Dumbledore is presented to us in the books and movies as this wide old man who's always trying to stay one step ahead of the red tape, which will hamper our heroes from doing their jobs. The moral compass with which we are meant to agree on everything. These books, the Fantastic Beasts books, blow that ship right out of the water. Because when we find out that he fell in love with the evil dark wizard, who's Nazi adjacent, and I'm not making that up, you kind of have to stop because he never stopped loving him, and you're like, my brother in Christ. Thoughts and prayers, Jesus. The tragic enemies to lover trope, I think, is what was going on. Or an attempt at what was going on, but it was done super wrong. Like, we missed our exit about 3 states ago. To be on board with the enemies to lovers trope, we have to see the enemy be human and in some way, shape, or form. To connect with them and sympathize with how they got to the point in their story where they are the bad guy. I had to ask a longtime friend who knows much about the Harry Potter world itself to tell me what Grindelwald did so I could write this section, because I honestly didn't know what his crimes were, to make him the bad guy. I'm sure they told me in the movies. I wasn't watching them for me. I was there because, ma'am, I'm sorry, you're beautiful, but I'm here under duress. Literally, I hate having to watch some movies with the kids. That's not true, I love them. I just really don't like the Harry Potter movies. Sorry, tangent aside. So I had to ask my friend, you know all this stuff. Tell me what Grindelwaldo did. And she did. And now I'm going to tell you because I feel a lot of people don't know. He did unspeakable things to his classmates. And then he performed dark magic on them before he fucked off to try and take over the world as a whole and trying to usher in his ideals to clean the world of non-magical people and let the magic users be crowned as the world's rightful rulers in the years between 1944 and 1945 in Europe. I don't know if you know what was going on back then, but there was another guy was saying this and it's not good. But hella, he must have done something good. He must have. Alright, I'll give it to you, maybe. But we're never told or shown anything about that to even support that claim. He's just the evil bad guy that we're supposed to hate. So this means he's the mega evil wizard for all the dark evil magical wizards and nothing else. JK Rowling wrote a gay romance that ended in death without redeeming qualities for one of her enemies to lovers, which is Grindelwald. And she did the bury your gay trope on top of it now that I think about it, and then tried to make it a sad love story from that jumping off point, from like Dumbledore's point of view. I'm sorry, that's not how this works. JK Rowling is a bad writer. Stop the fucking presses, I can hear you say, sarcastically. That's kind of the point though. Bad writing is not a mortal sin. Thousands of books have bad writing. We'll go gaga over them. Please see 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight, whatever Colin Ballinger wrote. Right? We are not ever getting away from bad writers writing bad stories. That's like the bread and butter of several different people. My very long point is that JK Rowling never did magic schools first, but she has made it so Harry Potter is like the tumor that people keep trying and failing to remove. I wish I could blame her for how poorly written so many books are, but she isn't the cause. It's easy to blame, but we know it's not her the cause of the bad books. She's just one woman in a very long line of bad writers who made bank on being terrible enough at writing that they gained attention from it. For the record, how Harry Potter became so widespread and how she got all these oodles and oodles of money is unusual for somebody who wrote a middle grade fiction book. She is the exception to the rule, not the standard. Keep that in mind if you ever decide to write a middle grade book, just because I feel like expectations, right? The main problem with her writing and the writing of so many other authors is, well, it's actually pretty basic, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you want to write trash TV as a book, then write trash TV as a book and be done with it. But if you're gonna try to write the magic school books, which Harry Potter is one. God, I find these books so boring I can't get around the yawn. I'm so sorry. If you want to try to write the magic school books, of which Harry Potter is technically considered one, then you need to look at other examples of the magical school books and see what they've done wrong. If you want to write a Hunger Games book, look what it's done right and wrong. Speak about social issues that you need to write about and not dance around the issue like it's gonna blow up in your face. That's it. That's my whole point. Sorry for the long rant. The long and short of it is basically boiling down to, if you're gonna write this specific kind of a book, then you need to actually commit to writing it. You want to write a magic school book? Pick up any of the other ones that I gave you. Find out what they did good, find out what they did bad, find out what they changed. I want to write a young adult middle grade book of like the Hunger Games. Okay, find out what was good, find out what was bad. I just want to write trash TV romance. Godspeed. I hope you do it good. That's really all this pretty much boils down to, is just you gotta know what you're writing and find examples of stuff that was good and bad, and then go accordingly. JK Rowling didn't write magic schools first. She's never been the first author. There's been plenty of them way before her, and there'll be plenty of them way after. It's just Harry Potter is always the central milestone for a lot of people because it was such an important part of their childhoods. Again, I don't endorse JK Rowling. I really don't give a fuck about her. And like I said, Harry Potter to me is so boring, I can't even pretend to care about the story enough to pick it apart other than it's boring. That's it. But that's the easy answer. The long answer is, well, okay, but what can we do to do better? Well, I guess you're just gonna have to write. Writing is rewriting. That's been the staple of writing for as long as anybody can remember. I just wanted to talk about this because I felt it was important. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Bye!